said. Oh, thank you, Carrie. I am perceiving differently. This is a very important word. Without perception, we cannot cultivate traits. Okay, I'm going to stop there. This is neuroscience. Without perception shifts, seeing differently, seeing bigger, seeing more, seeing the realities of interconnectedness in all their infinite, right? We know ways, including the moth in South America affecting our weather, right? Which we go, that's just can't hold that. Without that deep recognition and continuing, other word, perception, we cannot cultivate traits. Now, what's the difference between a trait of gratitude and a state of gratitude? I got a lot of smart people here. What's the difference? Traits versus states. Also, Libby said duration and temporal quality. One comes and goes, one is momentary, the other is abiding, the other is present, the other is what? Accessible. The other is actually becomes an essential foundation for who we are, and how we live. It doesn't come and go, right, folks? It doesn't come and go. It's here and here and here. And this is what we do every meditation. We cultivate mindfulness that is just then not only there, but it's there as we get off the cushion into our day. It's there when we're in a difficulty. It's there. And then, of course, given all of our practice realities, we go, whoa, wasn't there. I didn't notice it there. I might want to work on that because, gosh, I didn't see gratitude in that moment of difficulty. I lost the perception of interconnectedness, interdependence, and interbeing there. And oh, now that I am awakened, this is a moment of enlightenment as we know it, right? This is what we know enlightenment to be, awakening to the what greater reality called the whole of life. Not my life. We say, oops, little too small. Not my shoulder. And it doesn't mean we can't talk about our shoulder. That's not what I'm saying. But we talk about our shoulder in what? Recognition, awareness. This body, don't we? This body, this human body with its tendencies, right? To what? Be healthy as well as dissolve. And can we hold both? Well, that's mindfulness. Can we recognize both? That's mindfulness. Can we capture the truth of interconnectedness, interdependence? Yes, sometimes, because my body can't be okay without your body being okay, which is what our conversation was this morning, right? Because I can't be okay if you're not okay. And then what do we do? How do we live? How do we respond, right, to life? And so then today I sent out a thing and I said, let's start to identify qualities in others, which is where we often first get our sense of things, including love. We get our sense of love from others who have loved us, right? Our sense of kindness comes from those who have been kind to us that we go, wait, that felt good. That was interesting and exceptional. There's something about that connecting us. What do you suppose it is? Let's start naming some traits that we might notice in others and in ourselves, of course, that would suggest a life imbued not as a state thing coming and going, but as a trait in beings. What'd you notice? What qualities? I asked you to think about it this week. What'd you come up with?
Someone who smiles.
Someone who smiles. Yeah, joy. Right, Robin? The reality of joy. Because no matter what else is happening, what's the truth? That person is seeing perceiving something good, pleasant, all right. Remember our all right now, right? That they can smile even in a potential moment of challenge, right? Now, it wouldn't be reasonable, would it? It's not reasonable to assume that every moment is going to result with the first characteristic being joy, right? Wouldn't be reasonable. There are some hard moments. It would, however, be reasonable to assume that that first characteristic could be what? Mindfulness. That's why we practice. Because without that quality of recognition, without the quality of understanding, without the quality of holding those essential few truths, one is interconnectedness, the other is, right, what? Impermanence, and the other is the reality of karma. These are considered the three essentials. Going, everything I think, everything I say, everything I do gives me goosebumps still. I've been doing this for 35 years. Still gives me goosebumps because I go, I better get my act together. If everything from the thought is ultimately impacting not only the trajectory, then look at how important this is of my life. This isn't even about my life, is it? It's about all the lives now that I impact. And Robin just said, as simple as a smile, right? As simple as a smile impacted her, had her perceive this is a person who has some qualities, characteristics, ways of being, ways of living that I want to be and know and connect with. And right? Exactly. Once something simple like a smile. What else?
Equanimity.
Yes. Someone's capacity to be stable in the face of the storm. That's my definition of equanimity. What's yours, Jean?
I don't have a definition.
Does that
Uh,
does that one apply? Stable, grounded, present in the face of all conditions.
well, I think I was just thinking of Dennis's, I don't know if you were on, his reply to me about the passing of his cat.
I
And
was not.
he was equanimous in his response, and it could have gone, in any direction. And that affected me in my mourning of a friend. It's
Yes.
like, yeah, we're healing, and yeah, we're grateful.
Yeah.
So his equanimity, yes, I think your definition's good.
Yeah. It includes the whole truth. How about that?
I
The
like
truth
that.
of the
Yeah.
loss as well as the truth of the goodness. And if you could imagine holding both equally, which remember we have lots of stuff like negativity, bias, and stuff we've talked about, right? But if we could hold them truly equally, that is the definition of quantumous.
Yeah.
All good and all of the reality of the challenge, the difficult, the unpleasant, the uncertain, the unknown, right? And includes all of that would be actually from our human brain's point of view, something over on this side. And all that goodness, the Buddha said, actually will right the ship because there is that much goodness in our world. The,
And then you can make a good cup of tea.
yes,
Emma says.
right?
Yeah.
Yes. And then we hold it and we respond with the two, not the one. And then we realize they're not two. This is the Zen koan at all. That goodness and that difficulty is a part of the exact same moment. And then the Buddha went on to say, always, in every instance, it is always true. It only means that your view has limited based on preference, bias, attachments, right? Habits, right? What other factors? Fears. but that it is never accurate, that there is not the reality of goodness equal to the reality of loss, to the reality of pain, and it doesn't mean that we don't touch them right then. We just don't get lost in the idea that that's all there is when we touch it, but we sometimes just touch gratitude, right? That's part of our practice. Why? So that we can wholly know it, live it, embody it, become familiar, and really then cultivate is a key word. That's bhavana. For those of you who don't know that word, bhavana means to cultivate these things from state-like quality to trait-like qualities. What's the number one requirement for, would you guess then, based on what you've just heard me say, turning a state into a trait? What would be the number one uh, consideration, factor, variable from turning a thing that is a state occurs on occasion given certain conditions? That's a state, right? Everybody get this? It's a thing that occurs. We know it, but we only know it given certain external, internal conditions. We are not yet unconditioned, said the Buddha. Unconditioned. Now we get what the means, right? Which is I bring that with me everywhere I go. It is not now based on the externals or you or what you said or how you did it or the weather or at all. It is actually equanimous in that it is always trait-like, available, present, and here. What's the number one?
Awareness,
Awareness would be required.
practice.
Yes, the practice with awareness, waking up, waking up, waking up, waking up. Where is it now? Where is it now? Where is it now? Where is it now? How much of us have trouble in 1 week sticking with our gratitude practice? Well, I do. I do. Yeah, just gratitude. One trait. I'm not trying to look at the whole ball of wax here, folks. Just gratitude, right? And I go, where did that go? Where's gratitude? I got, not only do I not have gratitude, I have resentment. Not only do I have resentment, now I have frustration. Not only do I have, now I've got judgment. Now I, right? And by the way, I am not faulting that at all, because if I can wake up to that, said Courtney, didn't you, Courtney? With awareness now, I have infinite, unconditioned, right there, gives me goosebumps. Unconditioned possibility for going, okay, those are the conditions for resentment. Those are the conditions for frustration. And I need to know them, said the Buddha. Need to know the cause of suffering, he said, as the first noble truth, on the path to the end of suffering. And so you can't get around it. You cannot get around it. And then I get allergic to people who just keep going, everything's great. Everything's great. Well, not wrong. Not wrong. You are correct. And you didn't get there from here. You didn't get to great from everything's just great. You went, there is pain, there is loss, there is fear, there, right? And I understand something through my practice with mindful awareness, with loving presence, with staying in the difficulty, it says. I know what it's made of, and it's not me at all. Isn't that encouraging? It's not even me. It's a set of conditions that I have bought into as me. Even the quality of mind. It's a state. It's not a trait. And I go, that's just how I am. I just do that. That's just going to be me forever. Well, that's unfortunate, mostly because it's not true. And it is arising, and it would be good to know something about it with gratitude. to say, look at this opportunity for me. And sometimes we're there, aren't we? We go, this is good news. What is that contraction in the body, heart, mind right now? Why am I thinking that if only that were different, then I could be loving, kind, caring, grateful, right? It is never, the Buddha says, that which is beyond us. It is always that which is within. We know this, don't we? I'm just reminding us of all the things we actually know.
Yeah.
Yes.
This applies a little bit to the conversation about all the different pain that we feel in our physical bodies. And it's just amazing to me how grateful all of us are that we can get beyond those, versus a lot of my clients, and I'm sure yours too, pain takes them down.
Yes.
And they cannot function at all.
Yes. And maybe for a moment, maybe, there is a moment where you just wail on the floor. And I have no real judgments about the experience. What's the problem? It isn't the experience of pain, and it isn't the saying, this is hard, I don't like this, I would rather not be here, I'd rather be over there. Right? So no problems. So that's not what Robin's really talking about. We don't want to mistake this. So what's the distinction there? Remember, we cry when we cry, right? That's okay. Cry when you're sad. In fact, it would be a little breath of fresh air for us to actually feel how we feel, know something about how we feel, let the feeling be the state, not the trait. Wouldn't it? To go sad is sad. And it looks like that. Angry is angry. It has these qualities. So remember, it isn't that, it's that we cultivate what? The narrative, the story that this is my life. Now, by the way, that's the number one delusion, said the Buddha, is that you take a moment and you turn it into your life. And you can't do it by the thing, because you can't grab the moment and freeze it. What did you have to do? You had to freeze the heart mind around it. Does everybody get the distinction? You had to freeze, and that's called attachment, folks, isn't it? You had to freeze to go, this is my life. This is I'm never gonna. How many times do you hear yourself say this stuff? Huh? Courtney's laughing out loud with Libby. These two beautiful single women are laughing out loud. You can hear Libby in the background there, can't you? Chuckling. This is my life. I'm just never gonna, it's just gonna always look like this. Now, by the way, it doesn't even mean life's bad. That's not what I mean. It's usually state specific, isn't it? And we've turned it into a life story. And the Buddha says, number one piece of crazy is that I took it. Doesn't mean I didn't get to feel how I felt about it at all, right? I get to go hard, confusing for me, a little painful, a little, I don't know. If this is it, what else do I need to do? Right? But we don't. Yeah.
I was thinking about what Robin said, and I kind of laugh every time you go in to see a doctor and they ask you your pain level. So my guy was asking, so what's your pain level today? And I go, I don't really do pain anymore, but if you ask me what my mood is, my mood's shitty.
Shitty. That's lovely. That's lovely. And it's probably more true, because that mood or that state actually has about, what did we know in the research? 80%, folks, to do with your pain level. Holy crap. 80%. Chris landed right on it. He said, the way I see it defines it. Not even the muscle, the bone, the joint. Now, I was in 3 surgeons. They asked me my pain level. I said 0.
That's exactly right.
0. They went, how could it be? I went, I don't know. It's not. Now, if you want to ask me about functioning, that's also 0, by the way. I can't move this thing more than about 3 inches. So, right? And I'm here about that. I'm here about that, right? And so perceptions dictate states, and there are these other unconditioned qualities. Gratitude is one that we're going to talk more about now. And I wanted to set the stage for that because we tend to see gratitude as a what? State. Gratitude is not a state. Gratitude is a trait. Oh, the way you see life is what activates gratitude, not the conditions. So, do we get the difference now? Of the moment. At all. At all. And then you capture these moments, don't you? You capture them. You see them. You experience them where you go, wait a minute, this isn't even based on the conditions of this moment. This isn't even that. So what's now happening? What are you drawing from that you can actually cultivate this state? Right? I was kneeling, I'm remembering as I'm looking at Libby, I was remembering kneeling at my father's coffin during his funeral and smiling. And someone said, what are you doing? How are you smiling at this? I said, because I'm remembering all the love. How fortunate am I? And to this day, more fortunate for the love than the loss, for sure. Because what? The love is still there. And I'm also now clear about that, right? Now, the momentary loss was as painful as it was. And sometimes, don't I get to just also know, feel, experience that? That's not failure from the Buddhist point of view. That just means, can I hold that too? Yes, given what? The whole of it. Then sad is sad, I said. Then angry is angry. We don't have any problem here, but we're never lost in this as a solid state because it's never, ever true. So we understand gratitude as a quality of heart mind. It is trait specific, it is trainable, it is universal. Doesn't matter what culture you've come from, it doesn't matter male or female, it doesn't matter age. These are all conditions, not a factor at all. It appears in every wisdom tradition. There is no spiritual tradition that does not have a practice around gratitude and understand its traits versus its state. It's in poetry, psychology, right? And all religions. You'll see it everywhere you go. Besides the reminders that we're all doing with our gratitude journal, there are infinite ways to practice then gratitude. Most of us struggle to hold it in the perception. Most of us. Even in the practice, even Brother Stendhal Rast himself, who has practiced gratitude every day of his life for the last 50, 60 years, talks about he knows he's in trouble when he can't remember the good in the moment. And he has had, in all of his 100 years, the man is 100 years old this year, when he can't remember. He says, when I cannot call it up, I know what? I am blind and I should not speak. Would that be a rule you could take with you? I should not speak if I cannot also see the good. Now, I do use this measuring stick myself. I do say, before I say this, am I speaking to what I also know as the goodness of the other? And then my second practice has now become, can I speak to that first? Now I am actually doing okay on that. By the way, it doesn't always matter. Because if the other is in a state, what? Not a trait, they may not be able to hear that even. I'm noticing, like, wow, wait, did you hear me say I'm so grateful that you were able to take my mom to the blank? And the actual answer is not really. How does that happen? Not really. Doesn't mean it wasn't said, doesn't mean it wasn't meant, but also nothing open because what we are in state, which is collapsible, right, conditioned, not open, receptive, and available. Do you notice this for yourself? Yes, you do. Like, it didn't matter what you said, and good for you. Okay. Great, great. Glad you love me. I don't care. Gratitude is a momentary feeling when it is a state. It is a quality of character as a trait. The Pali word for this recognition of goodness is katanuta. Katanuta. Anybody ever heard that? It's not a commonly used Pali word. Katanuta. I like it. It's kind of a fun word. Katanuta means knowing the good that has been done. That's its definition. Knowing the good that has been done. Well, if you could hold katanuta, it would right the ship, wouldn't it? No matter the circumstance, now knowing the good that has been done. What would be a practice then that we could do when we see ourselves slip sliding away off into the storyline, off into my life shit, off into I'm going to be single forever, off into I'm just never going to have that, or whatever we're doing. What could we do as a practice? Right? You see yourself, remember that's mindfulness. Uh-oh, I'm tipping. I know I'm tipping. Most of us do, by the way. You've all practiced enough to go, uh-oh, there's a mudslide, and I'm on it, and I'm going. What could you do? What would be some of the first things? I want you to write it in chat or come on and say. Right there. What could you do?
Gratitude.
That's right. Anywhere. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't it be anywhere? Like, I don't know if you're grateful for your family. That's okay. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know if you're grateful for the mud you're sliding on. Okay. I don't know. But if you could open the door anywhere to gratitude. Now, for me, I can always be grateful for the knowing. And I use it. I go, I don't care if I like it or not. The bottom line is I still know I'm sliding. And that counts. And I give myself some kind of credit, or others some kind of credit just for that. We don't have a solution. We don't know how to right the boat. We're not swimming yet. None of that's occurred. But we know that we're in a place where we need to pay more precise attention, quiet the storyline that says not, can't, don't, and stay present. And that's what Jean and others have defined as equanimous, right? So you could remember the good in you or someone else. That's going to be part of our practice in the moment of the difficulty. Well, I can talk. I can actually put words together to express a feeling, a perception, right? I can do that. I have the capacity to hear the other. And to actually, we're here in a process here to try to work something out. All of this would be contributors to the good. We already know the definition of gratitude. I don't want to go over it again. What's our number one problem then? Forgetting. Isn't it always? Isn't it always? Forgetting. But we can remember. All remembering is good. Remembering on the spot is the very best kind of remembering. Remembering in recollection is the second best. Why? Why is remembering on the spot the best? Remembering in recollection, as I review, right, remind, the second best. Why would it be?
Because you're still at least being aware.
You're still aware. You're likely to cause less harm if you can remember on the spot, because at the least you can shut up, right? If you can catch it. At the least, you cannot propagate the difficulty. At the most, you can at least understand the causes of suffering. to go, well, here I am. I'm on the mudslide. The best I can do is hold on to something or get out of the situation and stabilize or without furthering. Because what's the neural pathway say? You don't want to play that, do you? You don't want to play that. It'd be better to just walk away, even though that's one of my least favorite responses to things, personally. You'd be better to walk away than you would be to stay in that harm state. And then recollection would be the second, right? Turning the trait into a state. So we're going to keep remembering that. A grateful person meets the world differently. Why? They are noticing goodness and kindness everywhere, even in the moments of difficulty. We've already talked about that. They also always remember those three factors. Everything's interconnected. Everything's impermanent. Even this difficulty is not, it's changing every single, well, nanoseconds. You can't even track them. And everything I do with it now shapes the world. Everything shapes the world, not just my karma. This is another limited understanding. Because I do have people go, well, I don't want to fuck up my karma. And I'm going, well, fuck your karma. What about everybody else's? Right. What about everybody else's? Like, okay, for you, whatever, but you don't want to do that to them and them and them. And what do we know? Your frustration just became somebody else's. Seen or unseen. Your anger just became somebody else's. Your frustration, your reactivity, your violence, your cruelty, as well as your compassion, your joy, just became somebody else's. Now, the truth is, I was making a joke. We want to regard them all. Don't we? I didn't really mean that. We want to regard both. My karma is going to impact your karma, which is going to impact their karma, which is going to impact everyone's karma. And so, what do we see in this world? What do we see? Somebody better go, there's a way to work with this, right? That's going to be us. There's a way to work with this. I'm not taking sides. There is no side, because we're all going to swim or we're all going to drown. So we better figure out what we all need to do to come into some kind of, how do we do this thing called survive together. There's a misunderstanding, I wrote, because I have seen this, that we should be grateful for everything. Again, it's usually false, and I get a little annoyed by that. It is also ultimately, in the ultimate truth, accurate. But it's not the spoken word. It isn't. My father was able to say, I'm grateful for the cancer because I've learned how to love differently. I knew he meant it. He didn't say that boastfully. He said it with humility. That's how I knew it was true. It wasn't like, look at me. It was, wow, I missed a whole thing about love till then. And interconnectedness. Because he believed he always had to be the hero because that's what he was. And just went, well, it's me. It's about me. Well, no, it isn't about me at all, actually, is what he was able to come to in the end. How grateful that he was able to come to that in a lifetime. Can we recognize, even in the moments of difficulty, this is our practice this week, the support that remains here, even when other supports typically are lost? Right? The relationship is failing. The pet is dying in Dennis's case, right? These realities are here, even in the face of the loss, the pain, or the difficulty. Can we see or open to the supports that are still here? Can we see the people who care about us, even in the face of the loss? Others just this morning responding to Dennis as he talked about Tinkerbell. And then can we see the resilience in us? that even in these moments of difficulty, there is more to us, isn't it true, than the loss. I think I'm going to look quickly over my notes, but I think that's mostly the idea. We're going to be practicing with gratitude now as a way of living, which begins as a recognition, but does not end there. So this is the difference. So seeing, right, something being triggered or activated to gratitude is the state. The action from it is the trait. Seeing it, oh, nice roses, right? That's state. Why? Well, there's the roses. Trait is the action and support ongoing. I have roses in my garden, for example. I enjoy roses. I support ecology. You could see all the ways then that this grows, right? Not just from the state, but now from the trait, right? We take actions then regularly, consistently, and in intentioned and purposeful way. Oh, let me say this. The Bodhisattva path says that so the Bodhisattva path, which is the one who remains to quell, to respond to the sorrows or the cries of the world, right? That's the definition of a Bodhisattva. So gratitude does not come up that much in the Bodhisattva guide, except as it relates then to compassionate action. And it's understood that without gratitude, you couldn't see the good and then couldn't see the suffering. Because you remember, we have to be equanimous, the Bodhisattva, particularly because they're responding to the difficulties. They have to be held then by what? Well, gratitude. And generosity is on this side. It holds the Bodhisattva. So they don't tumble just into the truth of suffering. They go even in the suffering. There is the path to the end of suffering. Right here. And right now. Even in this suffering, there's the path to the end of suffering. And that was those Four Noble Truths. It's why there were four. The Buddha did not simply say there is suffering in this life. Did he? What good is it? He said there is suffering. The suffering has causes and conditions. When you recognize these causes and conditions, you are on the path now to its end. And then he even gave us the path called the Noble Eightfold Path. Right? So we're going to be practicing in this way. It's an ethical force. I also thought that was important. You notice people who are grateful are not only grateful, they're moral. They're moral. They have high ground that they stand on. They don't just go me, they go me and you. It is the nature of one who is grateful to recognize not only my own needs, not only my own preferences, not only my own way, but also how does this impact others, and is grateful for the opportunity. They notice small blessings. They appreciate regularly. They often make statements about appreciation and gratitude. They remain steady in the difficulty. These are qualities and characteristics that have been studied. They do not take any kindness for granted. Small or big is not the point. Any kindness. I noticed this last week when Randa, one of our United Methodist Church women of faith, who we do Fill-A-Belly with, I said, oh, Randa, I wrote her a little text. Randa, I left my walking stick up at the church. I'd like to come up and get it. Well, Randa just drops it off at the house. Wow. Randa just drops it off at the house. Now, if you don't know Randa, what you don't know is Randa's very, very busy, has got a lot of really important stuff to do. She volunteers 9,000 hours a week at everything. And here Randa is dropping off this walking stick that I, which I forget everything, forgot one more time, right? I felt an immense appreciation and gratitude for her. Like, this is a busy lady who's got more to do and didn't want me to have to worry about it because she knows that would be also complicated. Gratitude is a lived action, just like compassion. The thought is important. It is its seed, but it is not sufficient. This week, we're going to start working on how do I live gratitude, not just feel gratitude, right? So we're going to make the distinctions now. How do I live it every day? So we're not just going to name the things we feel grateful for. What's the next thing we're going to name? What did I do about that? What did I do when I saw that person pour me that cup of tea what did I do when the person brought me the stick? What did I do? How am I living that gratitude? Gratitude then comes out of not only a feeling of sufficiency, the gratitude expressed actually makes us rich, doesn't it? We have something to give. It isn't just getting anymore. Can you feel the difference? We're not just getting, oh, I noticed I got that, then I noticed I got that, then I noticed I got that. It's what did I give as a result of that? Recognizing the gift. How did I respond? Very, very big difference, isn't it? Okay. So we're going to vow to remember. We're going to vow to notice the good. We're going to slow it down a little bit because we can't go flying by gratitude. We can't fly by the recognition of kindness anymore because then we cannot respond, which means we cannot cultivate the trait. We will only remember it as I got, which is simply the state. It is not sufficient. And in the Buddha's cosmology, he says a kindness done is good, but a kindness recognized is the second half, and recognized means lived actionably. He doesn't just mean go, oh, nice, lived actionably. What are we doing to do that? Any questions about this before we practice? We're moving into living gratitude, embodying gratitude, not just noticing the feelings. Are we good? Okay, so let's get ready to sit. And then being kind to the body, just seeing what the body needs here. And we're going to sit in an awakened, alert state, a present, mindful, noble. We don't raise the shoulders, though. We're going to let those soften. We're going to let that heart be forward. And then we take a big in and out breath. And we settle into the body. Letting everything that's architecting this body just begin to soften, relax. Letting the natural weight of the body support you. Offering a little stability. Feeling that anchoring. That's the beginning of feeling our presence. Letting the air enter and leave the lungs. And feeling appreciation for this precious human life. There's a quiet intelligence, it's called quiet intelligence. The body knowing it's alive. And we're resting in that knowledge. We're resting in that knowing. We can already make contact just in these few breaths with the infinite supports being offered to us in this life. And then I'd like you to call to mind, if you would, just one act of kindness. Remember, a kindness recognized is the second part of the definition. To a kindness done, that which is recognized. I'd like you to recognize a kindness done by you or another. And it can be things, I think, that are particularly simple, like someone asking how we are and really meaning that, asking if we need anything. Just reminding us that they're there. And as we're recollecting this moment, remember, not quite enough. The recollection is essential, however. We drop into the body and feel that felt sense of gratitude. This is state specific. This is a state of gratitude. We want to know what that feels like. And we've already named several in the last few weeks, things like a warmth, an expanding, a lightness, an ease, sometimes a softening. Let the body remember and recollect this state of gratitude. And then letting it spread, not only in that area, particularly this vasovagal, polyvagal system, let it spread throughout the whole body, moving beyond the heart space, beyond the breathscape, beyond the belly, breathing it into the whole body. And then we're going to expand that, not only the feeling, but the mind of gratitude, the state of gratitude, to include all that interconnects to support us. Not the one thing, act of kindness, not just this state, a physical awareness of gratitude, but now the interconnectedness, interdependence. The food that nourishes us, for example. I've been noticing, by the way, that I really almost can't sit down now without saying at least blessings for all that has contributed to this food. It is now just feels disregarding. All that has contributed to this food that nourishes me. And the people who care for us every single day. co-workers, friends, animals. And then we move beyond even what we can see and know to the countless invisible forms. Remember, I asked last week that we say, I am supported by countless beings, both visible and invisible, including you. Including you, who right now I might be seeing as difficult or unavailable or distracted. We let the mind rest in the reality that we are never separate. We are never disconnected from the whole of this human life. We are never alone, even when it feels otherwise. Our lives are held by infinite kindnesses happening right now. And then I'd like you to call to mind someone who might be for you a role model, or an example would be another word, of gratitude lived. How did you know they were grateful? Beyond the thank you, what were the qualities of their being? What was their relationship to the world? This is very important. There are infinite numbers of quiet teachers, aren't there? Showing us the way. And we can even be appreciative for their example. And imagine their presence not only around you, but now inside you. This is a quality of your own being as well. This trait of gratitude. And then how would you move through the day using that other as an example? How would you? And we've already named some things. There would be a joy, an ease, an equanimous quality, a gratefulness, a humility, very likely, an appreciation for life, even in its difficulties. There's a quality of tone, isn't there? A tone in another's voice that shares the reality of gratitude. And we're allowing that other, that role model, that example to become a part of our own mind body. I'm going to be going through the day with these qualities that I can see in them. And then I like to play with this by going, how would they breathe differently than the way I breathe? Well, they would breathe with a lot of ease, a lot of openness, a lot of naturalness, effortless, in the feeling of support. grateful for the air. What would their posture be? How would they open into this moment? It's a question you're going to ask. How would they open into this very moment? How would the heart respond? Gratitude in this way would no longer be a thought. It would be a way of being. It would be embodied. It would be lived. Alive. And in this way, then we would begin to meet um, each moment with the trait of gratitude. Now, it doesn't mean it's easy and it doesn't mean it's pleasant, but we're holding both the reality of the moment with those three essential truths: the truth of interconnectedness, that we are relying on others as they are relying on us, as a support. That nothing is permanent and fixed, even when it hurts. And that we are each a part of the next moment. How we respond to this one, how we open here, shapes the next. Katanuta, cultivating these perceptions so that they move from being conditioned states, into abiding, always available traits. Can always call on this. And then check into the body one more time, seeing what that feels like. This capacity that you possess. Forever abiding, always present, available right now. Goodness. And then before we end, I'd like you to make a commitment. I'd like you to think of a moment recently, just like before, where you noticed a kindness. And I'd like you to think about how you're going to live that. How are you going to forward that kindness? Recognizing it as a kindness done. And I want us to get a little bigger than this idea of just saying thank you. How do we live thank you? And you would naturally be generous, naturally kind, naturally appreciative. would recognize that without kindness, there could not be a world, and that you couldn't be in it without these infinite acts of kindness. And then how do you live today? And what do you do in response? And then we become the practice, don't we? And then we let it extend outward in all directions, touching everything, moving into the wider world. And where we bring gratitude, where we be gratitude, then gratitude is everywhere. And then kindness and goodness is everywhere. And feel the equanimity in that. The joy, the ease. That is the natural result of gratitude as a trait. And may we all work together this week to be gratitude. And then may it be a benefit to us and the whole of the world, as it will. So be it. Thank you. Any questions about this week? So how do you see yourself, what do you see yourself doing this week? How are you planning to live gratitude? As you were doing this practice, what came to mind for you as a way to live it? Not just think it, not just say thank you, which is essential, but part of what's important. But what else came to mind for you? What else do you see as possibilities?
I would like to hang out with more people that are grateful. That feels like it would make my life more joyful.
Yeah, absolutely true. Yeah, any one person who has those eyes impacts someone else as well. That's completely accurate, right? I can see then for a moment through the eyes of the other who is grateful for this life, this world, and what they're recognizing in it. It's actually completely correct. So hanging out with others, you'll know them, won't you? You'll know them because there's a quality of felt sense. They do not make life difficult. Doesn't mean it isn't, but they don't add to it, right? They don't add to the difficulty because they're not bringing that negativity bias. They're going, what can we do with this? How can we work together? What, right? Doesn't mean the mudslide not happening. What do we do with the mud? Um, and so you'll notice them, and that's comes again from that quality of holding everything as a potential opportunity for love, for goodness, for kindness, even when it's difficult. And that's going to be part of our practice this week. What else could you do?
Find more ways to give acts of service.
Find more ways to give acts of service. Well, we're just going to call that acts of gratitude. What would I do if I was truly aware of the infinite interdependent connectedness of all things and all that it's offering me? What would I do? What would I do? How would I contribute to that web, that life web, going with all the good that's here? How do I contribute to it? And there's no.
Keep on giving.
Dennis, say it again.
Keep on giving.
I don't know why, Dennis, but you got a little reverb.
Dennis, you're logged in twice.
Yeah.
You're vibrating off of yourself.
Keep on giving.
Giving, I think I heard.
Yes.
Yeah. Being more giving. Yeah, you would. You'd be a support in whatever way that was, and you'd find actionable ways to do it, right? In recognizing goodness, there's only one response, isn't there? There's only one. There's not 50. I would be that goodness. It would grow something in me. There's no one way to do it. I was just thinking, I've got all these roses on the rose trees out in the back. I thought, I'm going to cut those. Who can I give them to? And really, if you brought them to a senior center, if you just gave them to the people you saw in the day, if you made little vases, it wouldn't matter, would it? And wouldn't that contribute something? And remember, that act of kindness isn't with that intent. It's a response. It isn't to get thanks. That's not why we're doing it. It's to respond to all the good. I want to share that. I want to, right, expand that in some way. I want to be that. I want to actively be that. So we're going to keep looking at ways that we can do that. Other ways? All acts of generosity come out of this, by the way.
Di, what you said earlier about your father and his gratitude for his cancer really kind of moved me today.
Yeah,
I've got 3 friends that are battling that, various forms, various stages right now, and trying to figure out how to show up, for them. But I will say what you mentioned about your father is something that I've seen in all 3 of them.
Yes.
As they go through that. And I'm thinking about, all the ailments that we all feel sometime to embrace those with some gratitude.
Yes.
Because it does, I think, help us see more clearly. But I am thinking about how to take your message today and see how that resonates with them. And I'm sure they'll receive that.
They will. Well, they know it already.
Right?
It's an essential part of all healing, by the way. So you've got 3 friends who very well have some potential to get through this based on their heart mind, because they're not just about them anymore. And people heard me say this about my hips. I feel grateful every single day that this could even happen for me. Whatever the difficulty, the challenge, forget about it. The reality is I'm going to be able to walk. How lucky am I? And I mean it. I do not take this for granted. I do not take walking for granted. I don't take the body for granted. And I don't take the technology for granted. And all those others, including all of you who helped me work through that. Because if you forget that, then it all becomes about you. And by the way, there is no joy there. There is no joy there. And I don't care how good it is, because what do we know? That's just a state. No matter how good it is, it's a state. What's the truth of the trait? Appreciation, gratitude, interconnectedness, interdependence. How do I nurture this, not only for myself, but for others? And then you don't have a bad day, folks. Doesn't mean it wasn't a hard day, but you don't have a bad day. It's usually because we've collapsed, isn't it? We've collapsed into something. Just me and my thing. Me and my hips. David White said this: all the true vows are secret vows, the ones we make to ourselves in silence and live loud. And live loud. All they're made in silence and live loud. Right? So you see evidence for them everywhere. A vow to notice goodness, right? A vow to be the goodness and to live this life with humility and care, isn't it? Because we know there is nothing that we're going to go through that infinite other beings, infinite, uncountable beings have not already gone through and grown in. And grown in. They did not collapse in the face. It doesn't mean it wasn't hard. In fact, sometimes the hardest. I'm frequently in awe of what I see people ultimately work with, be with. It's striking to me. Right? The cruelty, the violence, the pain, it's unbelievable. Okay, I will send anybody who didn't get these practices, but really we're working at two levels, remembering the role model of the other, taking them in, what would they do, right? Because that's you too. You noticed it. It means you already possess and own it too. How do I live that? Not just express gratitude, but be gratitude. What does that look like? And I want you to find the infinite ways, because that's what they are. There's no limit to living gratitude. We're going to move it from now that state of a feeling that comes and goes to a trait that is a quality of your own being that is unconditioned. And I want you to see how good that feels in you. All right, I'm going to check my time. I don't know. Libby, do you have, oh, here we go, 8:24. Is there any question about this? I just want to do a few reminders. Then again, anybody not get this, let me know. I'll send it out to you again. For those of you who are going to be signups for Elder Help, we did the training on Saturday. We have to now do an application. We have to go to LifeScan. I want you to know it's $50. If you have any difficulty paying for that, EMC is going to support you. Any difficulty paying for that. One of the things I'm going to ask Carrie, who did not our Carrie from Elder Help, Carrie McClellan, is if we can watch the video, because we did record it. So if you watch the video, will she let you consider that the orientation, because you'll have gone through it just like everybody else, and then also be eligible, which I'd like her to be. It's the same thing. So I'd like her to do that. What we are recognizing, just so people know, and there's about 17 people, I'm very excited, is that it will be a little more complicated, I think, than we had thought, because there is no 5-minute a day check-in. If you're going to be that check-in person, you're a stand-in backup person, and you call everybody on the list that day. And that can go from 8 to 9, 9 to 10, 10 to 11, and 11. So there is no just 5 minutes check-in. There is an every other week 15 to 30-minute check-in, which I think it's called a friendly contact, I think that's something I'm probably going to do. I like the idea. I like forming relationship. I like having that person know I'm going to be there. The other thing I'm really liking is checking in on pets. It's another every other week. You make sure the pet's okay. You make sure they have the food they need. Elder Help helps with that if they don't. But that's another thing you can do. And I'm probably going to do the grocery shopping because that's something that is easy. You're going to the store anyway. I can go to the store and get you your things and then drop that off for some. So those all felt like pretty doable things for me. Remember, there are other more complex things like going to a medical appointment with someone. I don't know about that because my day's often busy. I'd have to have a lot of open space. I don't know if you say I'm free every Thursday from blank to blank for that. So I have to get a little bit more info. But LifeScan, I was there yesterday. The LifeScan lady said, if you get a bunch of people who want me to come on Saturday and do their LifeScan fingerprinting, right? It's a fingerprinting process. Let me know and I will come. Talk about an act of kindness. Now, this lady doesn't know us from anybody. She doesn't owe us anything. By the way, she doesn't work on Saturday. Let me start there. LifeScan's not open on Saturday, folks. She said, I will come to you and bring my machine for your group. How incredible is that? I would want at least 5 or 8 people before I drug her out here. So if you're somebody who would be interested in that, let me know. Otherwise, it's right behind Regal Siegel in a little building back there, easy to get. You can just get there. Anybody who's working with kids and elders or vulnerable population has to have a LifeScan, just so you know. My husband, who teaches at the Y, has to have LifeScan. Why? There are children in the building, right? They have to know that everybody there is ethical, safe, and okay. Yeah.
Do you know if you've already had LifeScan or how long it lasts?
Yes, it doesn't matter. They want a current check both for driving, insurance, and your current LifeScan. I did mine 20 years ago because I'm a therapist, of course. I had to have that. It didn't matter. Elder
Okay.
it's not relevant. They want your current everything, criminal record, all of that, as they should, because again, a vulnerable population. I don't see Lynn here, but I think we've got our next Philabelli on May 21st. Feels like it's right.
Diana, excuse me. Are
Yeah,
you saying we already had the training?
we did the training last Saturday.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
Okay. I didn't even realize I missed Saturday.
yeah,
That's okay. That's how it's going these days.
it is. And that's all right, Jean. I will check with Carrie because Libby wasn't in town either. Some people just couldn't do it.
Okay.
Jim wasn't here, he was in Florida. So I'm going to say if we can commit them to really watching the video, which is an hour and a half, will you let them
Thank
go
you.
ahead? And
I
I
got
don't know if she would object. I think she just needs to know the things.
yeah.
So
Well,
I
I
will
missed
let those of
Thank
you
you.
who are interested. So if anybody's interested who wasn't there on Saturday, let me know so I can let Carrie know who you all are, and do it that way. We have Philabelli coming May 21st. We have North County Warehouse. That's just from 6 to 7:45 up in Vista, and we bag the San Diego food there. It's a really fun time, and we have 10 slots open for that day. That's a Thursday, and we drive together if we can and meet at La Costa Park and Ride. but let me know. I think we've only got about 4 slots left
Can you
for that.
can you send that out? Or I mean, I haven't been
Yeah.
able to figure it out.
I did send it, and the way I sent it is just a link. I'll resend it. You just click on that link and you can sign up right there.
Okay.
So it's a little easier now because we've gotten the group link. So you just sign up that way. And it will tell you if it's full, and then you can just sign up as a general member, if so. But I'll send that again.
Thank you.
And then we have St. Andrews. So St. Andrews is our every other month. Remember, Jim goes to down to San Diego Food Bank every Wednesday now. Last Wednesday, they had 1,200 pounds of frozen chicken, which he and Carrie happened to be the lucky individuals to load and unload. It was a deal. And it was literally over the cab of the truck. And Jim has a big truck, not a small truck. So that was a major, major deal. They said it cost, I couldn't get over this. St. Andrews had to pay only, was so amazing, $200 for all of that chicken. So that's the kind of federal and state and other supports they get. And that San Diego Food Bank donors contribute to. So they're primarily donor based. Isn't that amazing? It isn't just federal monies at all. These are donors making this food available, which is quite something. 1,200 pounds for $200 was pretty incredible. St. Andrews was pretty excited to get that. So I think we have yoga in the garden this Saturday. I'd love for people to be there. I'm going to be there. This is my first return to yoga. You will notice I'm not doing everything. I can't and shouldn't, but I'm going to be there. Why? Well, just sitting in light, gentle stretching is good news. Just being in the company of others who can move is good news. Just being grateful that I have a body that gets me into the garden, no matter what else it's doing, might be smelling roses, is all good. And so we'll be there together with Liz on this Saturday at 8. So we'll only practice from 7:30 to 8. And then we have retreat coming. That is May 7th, which is a Thursday, May 8th, Friday, and the 9th, which is Saturday till 3. So we'll even be there Saturday till 3 o'clock. Most people are choosing, other than a few, to come as a commuter. We have had to raise the price of the commuter rate to $100 a day to pay for all of the things we offer there, including the teas and the snacks and the space that we pay Quest Haven for, even when you come as a commuter. So we hope you will join us. Commuter time is 9 to 5. That's the commuter. We will be there practicing from about 6 in the morning till about 8:30 at night for those who are in residence. It's a little different day. And we will be continuing our gratitude practice there. I'd like to see everybody try to get there at least one day. Anything else, anybody? I think that kind of covers us. All right. Keep that person or persons in mind. Those who embody gratitude, find the breath of gratitude, the posture of gratitude, the heart of gratitude. Breathe it in. Breathe it in. And then see what flows. What flows out. It is something. There is no just in. When something is truly taken in, it is always then expressed and lived out. I want you to begin to notice what that is. Keep that in your journals, along with your noticing gratitude as a state, right? And then how is it starting to translate into a trait for you? All right, everyone, let's do our prayer. May I be a guard for those who need protection, a guide for those on the path, a boat, a raft, a bridge for those who wish to cross the flood. May I be a lamp in the darkness, a resting place for the weary, a healing medicine for all who are sick, a vase of plenty, a tree of miracles, and for the boundless multitudes of living beings. May I bring sustenance and awakening, enduring like the earth and the sky, until all beings are freed from sorrow and all are awakened. May we all be happy. May we all be free from suffering. May we all have ease of being and share that ease in our countenance, in our way of being with all beings. May we rest and dwell in the vast, open, sky-like quality of equanimity, holding both the joys and the sorrows of the world until all beings are happy, safe, and free. And may our practice today contribute and may continue. So be it. Thank you all so much. I am grateful for you. Thank you. Be well, everyone. See you on Thursday with Greg, and then Saturday here in the garden for short practice, followed by joyful, grateful yoga. I can't wait to be out there with you all. Thank you so much. Take care, everyone.
So I'm trying to figure out what it is